Hey guys, today we're talking about creating your plate. Now this is going to be helpful for when you are at home and eating out. Remember that creating habits on a daily basis, like at home, is going to help you when you're eating out and you're off schedule, off routine. If you've got a vacation or a trip, if you have an event like a wedding or a birthday party. So always keep that in mind, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to start with how I break down my plate when I'm creating a recipe or a meal at the house, and then how I go about it when I'm out to eat as well or at an event. So first, I'm usually going to pick my protein source. So if this is a plate, I realize this is not a real pretty circle of a plate, but you can see that protein isn't going to be taking up quite as much as the veggies, but it's a little bit more than the starchy carbs and the fats, right? So I'm going to go ahead, choose my protein, make sure I've got a good palm to a palm and a half size portion on my plate. The next thing I'm going to do is pick my veggies, right? And this should take up almost half of your plate. If you really want to make sure that you're filling yourself up on, vegetable sources, so you're getting the micronutrients in. Plus, they're usually some of the best choices when you're out somewhere, so that you're not eating all the other stuff that comes along with the meals at restaurants. Next thing I'm going to do is choose my starchy carbohydrate source. Now this is going to be a potato, this could be rice, for breakfast, this could be oatmeal or pancakes, something like that. It could also be fruit, right? So that's going to be included here as a carbohydrate source. Last thing I'm going to do is choose my fats when I'm creating my plate. The reason behind this is typically your protein source is going to include some fats. Sometimes the veggies and carbohydrates will have some fats as well. This pertains to if you're eating out. If you're eating at home and creating your plate, you already know if you're putting fats in your carbohydrate or veggies, right? You're going to know if your protein source has fats in it. This would apply to fattier cuts of meat like a tri-tip or ribeye or salmon, something like that. If you're having whole eggs, those are all going to be protein sources that contain fats. So I probably wouldn't add a lot more fat to my plate. I would stick to filling up more on veggies and the carbohydrates or fruits. Now, also don't forget dairy. So if something has cheese in it, you're going to be getting a little bit of protein and a good bit of fat as well. So you do want to monitor that when you're creating your plate. For your carbohydrate sources, some of your carbs, like we talked about, might have added fat. So if you're ordering a potato at a restaurant or some rice, I would probably steer clear of adding a lot of extra fats to your meal because you've probably got some, a little bit of butter, you've got some oil, so you're already getting your fats. And that's what can get people when they're out to eat. They're thinking, oh, well, at home, I just add another fat source to my meal because I've got all these other things. But the issue is that even on the veggies, you want to add, take a look and see if there's any added fats like oils or butters along with the carbohydrate, because otherwise you can get a very fat-laden meal, which fats are just going to be higher in calories. Not that fats are a bad thing, it's just the calories can add up pretty quickly. So again, to recap, when I'm creating my meals at home, trying to make a routine for myself, I'm choosing my protein first. In general, I'm looking for a lean protein source unless I know I'm not going to be adding any other fats. Then I'll go with a fattier protein source. That's going to take up maybe about two-thirds of the plate. Then I'm going for veggies. I'm trying to load that thing up with veggies, taking up just under half of the plate. Then I'm going for the starchy carbohydrate or some fruits. And then I'm taking a look at the rest of the meal, kind of gauging how much fat I've already got in those food items. And then I'm looking to see if I need to add extra fat. The case where that could happen is if you order a salad with some grilled chicken, but you're not getting any cheese or croutons, well, you kind of know, all right, there's not a lot of fat added here. I can probably have a little bit of the dressing that comes on the side, and I'll put that on there. So that's your added fat. That would be one way to navigate a menu at a restaurant. So that's how I would create a plate.